drained into either the superior vena cava or the brachiocephalic.
Christian's the light back on.
And we're going to have a couple of new ones here. So remember we had the internal thoracic artery giving off the anterior intercostal artery, okay? And those join to posterior intercostal arteries from the thoracic aorta. So we still have internal thoracic veins, but we do not have a thoracic aortic vein. We have to come up with some other vessels for the intercostal to drain into. All right, let's do another question.
Can we not?
We haven't done this one, right?
No.
Oh, wait.
This is 431. Should be D. If I remember. Yeah. So it's D. Yeah.
What did you put? What did you put?
Okay. You guys know what this was? Almost?
It's a big D.
Remember, receiving means blood is moving into it, not just attached to it, okay? So looking at direction of flow. Okay? Ready one more time? All right. Question 5. Brachiocephalic veins are formed by the union of. I don't have it labeled, but I have it up on the board. So what veins join together to form this vessel or this vessel?
Did she diagonal brachial cephalic?
So this is just showing how we have the aorta branches here, how thick the walls are for the aorta, and see how it collapsed. So this is the short right brachiocephalic and the longer left, crossing over to form the superior vena cava. So we're at this point now. Let's take the drainage of the venous blood and from the chest wall. And this looks too confusing, so I'm going to leave it up there, but I'm going to draw separately anterior, posterior drainage. Okay. So the first one we have is for the internal thoracic vein. Remember how the internal thoracic artery was a branch of the subclavian artery? Okay. Whereas the internal thoracic veins are going to drain into the brachiocephalic veins. So this is an anterior chest wall over here on the left. And this is a posterior chest wall. So we have the internal thoracic vein on either side of the sternum. So a bit closer together than I've actually drawn. And this is receiving the anterior intercostal vein. Okay? So what was our next number? 27. The new one? Okay. So we have, coming in to 28 will be the anterior intercostal veins, and 29 will be the internal thoracic vein. Anterior intercostal veins. And 28. Right here. Internal thoracic veins. And those are draining into the brachiocephalic. Uh-huh. And then obviously that gets to the superior vena cava by flowing down the brachiocephalic trunks, or brachiocephalic veins. So that's the anterior chest wall. So the posterior chest wall, we're going to have the posterior intercostal veins, all right? And they, as arteries, were branches of the thoracic aorta, but we have this gap where we have the inferior vena cava coming up through the diaphragm, and we have the superior vena cava draining into the heart. And we have no vessel here to specifically receive major vessel to receive the posterior intercostals. So, starting down in the abdominal wall, we have along the posterior muscles of the abdominal wall, and I'm drawing it in a dotted line just because, not because it's posterior, but because I'm not going to ask you to learn it. I just want you to see where it has its origin. It's called the ascending lumbar vein. But when it gets into the chest, running along the posterior wall behind the ribs, it drains into the superior vena cava directly, all right? And it's going to receive posterior intercostal veins. Now these could have been connected to the anterior intercostal veins in here. So if they were anterior, they're going to come along and drain into internal thoracic. Or they can go posterior and drain into this vein. On this side, we have a similar setup. We have ascending lumbar. And then it comes up into the chest wall on the left side. But it does not go into the superior vena cava. It crosses over behind the heart, across the vertebral bodies, and drains into this vessel here. Okay? So this is called the azygous vein. Posterior intercostals on the right side are going to drain into the azygous vein. Posterior intercostals on the left side are going to drain into the accessory azygous. So 29 is going to be posterior intercostals. 30 is going to be hemiazygous, and 31 is going to be azygous. So hemiazygous is on the left chest wall, posterior chest wall. It crosses over behind the heart, showing that here, and empties into the azygous, which actually empties into the superior vena cava. In fact, you saw the azygous a couple weeks ago when you were studying the heart, because we never talked about it as such. Weren't ready to. So here's the superior vena cava. Here are the two brachiocephalic veins that are draining together to form the superior vena cava. And see this little branch right there at the back? That's the azygous that empties into the superior vena cava. We're not going to worry about the ascending lumbar veins. And we're not going to worry about another vessel here that I'm also going to draw dotted, because we have other posterior intercostal veins to pick up. And these are going to go up here. And that's an accessory hemiazygous, but we're not going to worry about it. Okay? So hemiazygous on the left and zygous on the right. And that one of the best places to see that is on this wire model. We look posteriorly. So here, this is the right side of the model. So coming up here and draining directly into the superior vena cava is azygous. And then on the left side, coming up and crossing over and draining into azygous is accessory. So you can see that sequence as a pattern. And I think I have a couple of images of the wire model as well, for those of you in the back that couldn't see that very well. So you're looking at the posterior heart. Here's the thoracic aorta with the posterior intercostals coming off on the left side. Here's the right side. So here would be the azygous vein, emptying into superior vena cava right here. Here would be the hemiazygous crossing over and joining the azygous. And then this would be the accessory hemiazygous that I said you don't have to worry about.
Is this both posterior?
They're looking from an anterior view. This would be superficial in that sense. So this would be just deep to the front of the chest. And then if you took the lungs out, you would see the diagram on the right against the posterior chest wall. Okay. So another one from a different, so here's the azygous, and here's the hemiazygous crossing over. All right, so now we're ready for inferior vena cava. And instead of starting at the lower limbs and going all the way up, I'm going to do it in a segment similar to what we did with arteries. So we'll do the veins that drain directly into the inferior vena cava from the abdominal region, and then we'll do the lower limbs. Okay? And we'll do fetal circulation on Tuesday. Right? Engaging attention last night, I decided I couldn't push it with them to finish fetal circulation. So we are, in doing this, we have our second experience with a portal system. Remember our first portal system we talked about in the brain had two sets of capillary beds. So we had the arteries coming into the hypothalamus, having a capillary bed where they gave off hormones like estrogen and testosterone that picked up releasing factors. And then those capillaries formed the portal veins that traveled down to the anterior pituitary, where we had a second capillary bed where we gave off the releasing factors and picked up the hormones from the anterior pituitary. pituitary. And that allowed the blood to avoid going all the way to the heart from the hypothalamus and then coming back again to reach the capillary bed of the pituitary gland. So we have another portal system here, and this involves the digestive system, all right? So we pick up nutrients that we've digested in the lumen of the small intestine. Those are absorbed into the superior mesenteric vein. We get fluids and vitamins from the inferior mesenteric vein. And instead of sending all that blood back to the heart and then pumping it to the liver, because the liver is the largest gland in the body, and it's going to use most of those amino acids for making proteins that we find in the blood. It's going to store the excess glucoses, glycogen, and so on. Instead of sending it to the heart and then to the liver, we bypass that particular circuit and go directly to the liver, where we have another set of capillaries within the liver where that food, the digested food, leaves the blood and goes into the liver cells. So that bypasses our portal system, and we're going to talk about a hepatic portal vein. So when we look at the vessels that drain into it's not as complicated as it looks here, that drain into the inferior vena cava, we have no superior mesenteric vein. We have no inferior mesenteric vein. We have no gastric, no splenic. We have only a hepatic vein of all the different digestive organs that we talked about, okay? So I'm going to draw first the veins that empty into the inferior vena cava, and then we'll look at the portal system separate to the side, kind of like we did with the superficial veins of the upper lip, okay? So our next number is 32. So may I erase the board? So like I did with the aorta, I'm going to draw the entire inferior vena cava and then create openings to which I'll have the vessels empty. So we have left and right common iliac veins forming the inferior vena cava, which passes just about an inch or inch and a half above the diaphragm before it empties into the right atrium. Let's bring this down just a little bit lower, so I have a little bit more room. So, and I've forgotten already, 32 is our next number? Okay. So 32 will be inferior vena cava. We're going to start from down here and just put in a few of our lumbar veins. They go all the way up. And these could also drain into those ascending lumbar veins, okay? But we're not going to draw those in. So 33 will be lumbar veins. And then the next one should be that inferior mesenteric vein, if we're going in sequence from what we saw descending on the aorta. But inferior mesenteric vein does not drain into the inferior vena cava. It's going to be part of our portal system, all right? So the next vein that we have is one of our gonadal veins. And it's going to come up close to the kidneys. I'll do it up here. But only one of them. Only the right gonadal vein will drain into the inferior vena cava. That will be 34. So this is an instance where I want you to know right and left, okay? Because they have different destinations. So 34 is the right gonadal vein.